Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Where's Wally podcast. I'm Wally. Today, we're going to talk about some breach and leak data from the CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party. Uh, this is actually the fourth time I'm recording this video today. First time, I didn't have my microphone on. I had some systems problems the other time, had to do some restarts. I paused it in the middle at one point, thinking that it would just kind of automatically save. That didn't happen. So back again. Um, so I'll address a few questions right off the bat. Programs I'm using Analyst Notebook. I'm using a large CSV split program. It's just random software. They're free. They typically work really well. And I'm using Autopsy for some things, which is a forensic toolkit. It's open source software. Um, So this is an interesting data set we're going to look at today. We're only going to look at a very small part of it because uh, in testing earlier today, it does take quite some time to load. There were some issues with the data um, in previous runs, but I think I have some of some of those issues squared away. I also didn't have understanding of what the headers of the data actually meant and alluded to. It didn't make upfront sense to me. um, Asking some friends and using some AI and doing some research, I have that figured out, and I have figured out where the data came from. So that's one thing I know what the data says. I just didn't know kind of the source of it. But the source of this that I'm going to show you here is the CCP's digital health surveillance infrastructure. Um, I think I'm saying this quasi correct. Shushima, which is the system used in Shanghai, which is where this data specifically is focused on. It has got basically a it's got a lot of data. I didn't realize the importance of it until I don't know 30, 40 minutes ago. So I'm going to jump right into it because I want to get this rolling, and I'll talk about what the headers are in this data uh, pretty quickly. So off screen, because I got two big screens, I basically took this huge file, um, many gigabytes. It's 5 million rows, which is a lot. It's more than obviously Excel or CSV can handle. Um, and I broke that down into individual sections. These sections each are something like 13,000 kilobytes. Um, but as I'll show you here in a second, take that 13 and multiply it in this case by 12, because things I didn't think were important before are actually pretty damn important. So let's get into it. So what I'm doing here is I am teaching Analyst Notebook uh, how to sync the rows to the data, and this is where I do that from. I'm asking it to give me a more complex association chart, and here that is. So this is fairly straightforward. Okay, the corresponding data up here has to go down here. Pretty simple. Why does it have to go down there? Well, this is the visual representation of the data. This is pretty common. It makes sense to me now. It took a bunch of years, but now it totally makes sense. But so think of it as a form of English. We have nouns, verbs, adjectives, person, places, things, activities. Those activities are not connected. People are not connected just one to one. Like you're connected through an event, through an organization, through an activity. That's how people or families. People aren't just directly related one to one, analytically speaking. So the same with this. All this is on top is a descriptor of that individual person. What this should tell us is, hey, is there like a lobby phone, like a pay phone that's being used? And then, you have 60 people in here who have that same phone number. How many people share addresses? How many people are from this area, from that area, etc. And so let me show you how this works. So Scan time. This is from the QR code system that they utilize, right? Um, it's time sent to the QR code, and it's what that translates to is the CPCP's uh, surveillance logs the people in here's movement in real time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this number one down. I'm actually going to put this as ID. ID guard. Okay. So number one, the data is from row one, and I'm labeling that ID. Is foreigner. That's just checking the nationality of the individual. Actually, let me find the individual first. So we have row six. I'm going to drag that down here in the middle. Like I was talking about adjectives, we call those attributes. So I have number 6 highlighted, which is the name of the person. Is foreigner. This is their nationality. And so you see this pop up right here. That'll tell me if they're Chinese, Cantonese, etc. Whatever is listed in that row. Number 3 is BZ. BZ is short for remarks. Possibly is that person transient? What are their movements? I'm going to put that down as I think an activity. I have the file actually saved here. I took a picture of it translated. Some of these I'm getting translated. Some of these I'm not. But essentially, they all seem to say the same thing. If you see into this BZ right here, some of them that character stands for flow. So this one stands for fixed. So I think it's like one or the other. I don't necessarily know how that translates to the movement of people or pattern of life. I will figure it out. So what I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that as an attribute because it's one of two things. And the problem with that in the chart is it'll in Analyst Notebook, you can have duplicates. So all of those are going to collapse into 2 or 3 different categories. It doesn't seem like they're a thing enough that you would connect somebody. Also, we all know these people are somehow in the Shanghai area. So I'm going number 3, and I'm going to let's see what we got here. Let's see if there's a pattern. No, no. Nope. Let's try. Nope. I was going to try status. Let's try. Classification type. We'll just do that. So classification type. So you see that changed right here. So fixed or flow. I guess we'll figure out what that means exactly and then better later. The next row number 4, is source system. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to actually the scan method. So I'm actually going to take this. This is the actual source. So I'm going to take that and move. This individual is a user of this app. So on the translation, I can see pretty clearly that we have like Ally Pay, WeChat, and there's multiple in here. Citizen Cloud is what it translated to. I don't think that's actually what it is. So I'm going to use the number 4, which is identifies the platform, and I'm going to put that as an attribute. So boom. And I'm just going to put type here because don't really know, but you can use type for a bunch of different things. Okay, company name. Organization associated with the individual. And it says may be used for contact tracing and workplace surveillance. So on the translation, okay, on a lot of these, it has none, which what I'll have to do is I'll have to actually change that and finish. It seems so Company name seems to correlate with this, whether it's fixed or flow. So this one's flow. They're in movement, and so they don't have that information about who they're associated with. We're going to take that and move that down here. You're going to add a link from the individual to location. Now, this is going to create a big cluster that's not going to be necessary because this little character here is essentially, I'll consider that to be a blank. So while when this is done rendering, I'm going to take all those and I'm just going to delete them because it's not necessary. We'll do the labels on this once we're done. Okay. So name of the individual, that is number 6. We already went through that. So all these, obviously, I don't speak Mandarin. They do translate to like Shenping, Yaowenjing, Liao, Quinxian. What I assume are stereotypical Mandarin names, Chinese names. If we see a bunch of clusters from a name, like that's actually technically a mistake because these people are actually individuals. They're actually individuals. So what I would do if I was getting paid to do this, right? Because this is all basically my curiosity, is I would sort this chart by the name and then look for those, just visually look for those commonalities or name matches, and then I would number them. So that individual one, and then through whatever. It could be 400. I think there's 17,000 rows in each of these, and there's 250 or 300 individual files is how I split it up. So that's a lot to go through, right? It's better to do it in bulk than it is to do it individually because that takes quite a bit of time. So we already have a name there. Number 7 is, oops, come back. Let's see. That is the identifier. This is the card number. Okay, so did I already put this somewhere? No, I didn't. Okay. So I'm going to drag this down and I am going to put a link from the individual to the card. SJH is their mobile number. So pretty important. Making a line from the individual to the mobile. Keller code. Okay, so let's associate this with the scan. So this color code is, it says health code. I think this is also part of the social credit score, not 100% yet. But if their code is green, it says allowed to pass. Indicates public health status and access control, which is interesting, right? So yeah, let's do that as a description. I'm going to pull this here. I'm just going to put, I'll just put Keller actually. Let's do code. Okay. So we'll be able to see that pretty clearly. I'm guessing there's 2 colors. Kind of that's what it looks like, you know? So black and white, A or B, green or red. The next we have scan method. Okay, so this is the actual app, and we already have that right here. Like I said, WeChat, the GovCloud. Now, I didn't understand what these were earlier, but these two, number 11 and 12, are actually the lat long. It's part of the GPS coordinate. So where to put that is the question. I think let's I'm going to put it on. It seems like all these individual scans are, I think I'll associate it with that. I think that this lat long is associated with that scan on that card that then gave us all that, the data that's here. So let's just do that. I'm going to pull 11 down and 12 down. And let's see which one's which one's long. Okay. Scan JD is longitude. And that makes 12 latitude. And that's gonna be interesting to see, right? So layered intelligence is super important. You can Analyst Notebook interacts with many programs. The first one that comes to mind is ArcGIS. Uh, so I can map out all these pretty exactly. So a lot of these are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. So 12. So, and there's more. So maybe 24 or 30 digit GPS. It's a very specific location. Once you get that specific, you're looking at the location is within 3 inches of where it says on a map. So that exact location is very precise. Um, whether that's a login, is that I don't know if that could be like a login indicator on social media, or like that user hops on WeChat to just say hi, post something like Americans would do with Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Is that what initiates this, or is it actually a physically like a scan? Like, do they have to scan their device to get into a place? Not really sure how that works yet. I mean, I'm going to. So here's how I'm going to design this. I don't know whether these are male or females. Okay, so I'm just going to do person generic. Everybody here is just basically going to be the same. Nothing really wrong with that. This will be social media. Okay, and because it's multiple different social medias in the same rows, I'm using this one. So it's just, this is a social media account, you know. Number 5's company name. So let's do. Uh, where did company go? I'll do government. I can change that later. And 8 is, which one was this? This one was phone number. Okay, so 8. We don't call them phone numbers. Call them by other things for other reasons. In this case, this one is IMEI. Number 7. That's actually their ID card, I believe. Let's see. Yep. Let me check this again. Hold on. Number 7 is card identity number, Chinese national ID. Okay. Strong identifier used for cross database correlation. Okay. So I'm also going to do ID on this. Let's say, okay, so I'm going to change this one too, because this is different. Let me see if they have something for law. Let's just see what Logic Bomb looks like. See if that looks cool. Yeah, well, it's cool, but let's do data package. That's more accurate. Okay, so that is basically it's metadata, and you know, as you guys probably heard me say before, metadata is life. Okay, so all right, so now we have to classify the links. I'll start with the cell phone or the phone number, and this will be user of. The ID card is going to be owner of. And here's the thing with methodology. I'm doing this in a specific way for a specific reason, because this is an actual methodology. It's colloquially known as irregular warfare analysis methodology. It also has a bunch of different names, so I'm not going to go into. And if everybody does it the same way every time in a big group, then you turn small data sets into gigantic databases in pretty quickly. So for this, the first one, the scan time that we have as a data packet, I guess I'm going to do, also, I'll do user of. For, yep, label. I'm going to do owner of. Yeah, I'm going to do user of. And for this, works for. And I'm going to take a look real quick. I think I got everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 12 rows, 12 rows up here. The corresponding numbers down here. We should be good. Nothing here dictates like, well, we could modify this just a little bit. Yeah, let's do that just a little bit. Okay. I'm going to go to the actual link between the person and the cell phone, and I'm going to change that to information. That's going to change the line to blue. Blue is the color code for flow of information. In some ways, you could say that this is also a flow of information. This is the catalyst that kicks off the file in the first place, that's watching the people and controlling where they can and cannot move. Okay, so from here, I think this looks good. I like this setup. It's pretty simple, but it will tell us a lot on the grand scheme of things. I'm clicking import. Yes, I do want to import. I'm going to do this as new split file v3. I think we're on 3 now. And we will save that. Now it's going to start running. So according to my timer, the last time I ran this, which is earlier in the day, it took about 23 minutes. So I'm not going to just talk likely for like 23, 24, 25 minutes even. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video and I will be right back. Okay. I am back. I think the total time was probably 15 minutes there. Not so bad. So let's move forward, right? I'm going to click add to chart now. So I don't know if I remember if I mentioned this earlier. I mentioned it in other videos that I didn't use. Analyst Notebook is very resource intensive. So when I start it up, I go into Task Manager and I set the resources to real time. I use StreamYard to make these videos. StreamYard's also resource intensive. So I click add the chart. This may take a minute and I can see more on my end than you guys can. Not able to zoom the little pop-ups. But for a while, it would say like, at row 35,000 of 100,000, etc. So when I split this up, I did it by 100,000 rows at a time. So what does that translate? Let's go into my calculator. All right, so basically, with the exception of, and I should have done this math in my head, and that was an easy one, but there are if there's 100,000 rows, there's 1.2 million pieces of data, with the exception of the ones that are basically nulls. So instead of having a blank, they added a character that means nothing, basically, or it's nothing of value to us. Like I said, those will all combine from multiple entities into one. We'll be able to see those visually. I'll use the Google Translate function, and I'll just delete those from the screen. The other great thing is when I build out these templates, I don't have to do it again for this data set. And there's a lot here. Realistically, probably take 8 to 10 hours to build individual charts, save those charts, and merge them all together. You want to save as you go, and then every time I make a change, I resave. Whether that's a version, you want to keep dates in there. And this is in real scenarios, so that you know where you're at, what data's in there. There's also a section for what are called cards. cards are where you can leave notes. So I can take the whole chart and say, okay, this is in the note section. This is version 3, and that data will also merge. So if there's a identical entity later, I can say, okay, although it's all the same data source, that individual was mentioned X, Y, and Z times. I should also see that from their ID and the lat longs. So let's say, although there's 1.2 million data points per 100,000 rows, that could be one individual going from their house, taking the train, getting food from a machine. I have to do some more research into how this actually works, like in practice. Like, are they scanning a QR code? That's what it kind of seems like. It's some type of QR code scan. Um, I imagine it's more than that, but I don't know. I never worked this region professionally, so I don't have geopolitical language background, nothing. Uh, it says not responding, but it's doing something over here. So it's just a lot of data, right? It has to render a lot, and that's fine. It's worth doing. Uh, a lot of people don't believe that there is a social credit score in China. Well, here's your evidence, right? It's not just how good of a communist are you, or did you post something that the government didn't like. It's also control medically. These systems, if you're apparently, and I'm do some more research into this, but it seems that if your access control is taken away for a health reason, that's just as bad as having a bad social credit score, right? You can't do anything. You can't purchase items. Uh, you can't communicate. You don't have freedom of movement. Uh, Pretty interesting. So, as you can probably see, what I'll do for a minute is change the view. Okay. Yep. Actually, let's go back to here. Oh, I just got some alerts when I did that. So I'm just going to let it. Okay. Yeah. It's stacking right now, is what we call this. What it's doing now is it's got a lot of stuff. And right now it is merging those like entities together. Uh, and it's clustered those. So characters also take up more space than English for whatever reason. And this is a mix of Imperial and Mandarin characters. And if I said that wrong, I apologize. Like I said, I haven't worked this before. So what happened here? Got I'm going to do fit to window. Okay, yeah, we have a chart. Okay, here's where it gets really cool. Uh, Actually, what I'm going to do first is I am going to save this. Let's do so off screen. I am saving this as it is. Okay. Uh, MLC in Shanghai. And this specific file is, I'm going to write this as new split file 1. If you could see this little part, it's basically title. You can add subject, author, keywords, categories, comments. It's very thorough. Don't need it to be thorough. I just need it to be able to copy it. So I have, this is from the 5 million China Shanghai data. This is a new split file. This is 1. And I have 51 in this folder. I'll press OK. It is now saving to where I want it. And this is going to take a minute. I apologize. But from this, some of this data, when I was checking these, what the rows mean and what some of the data means, it's interesting. There's some further notes that while this is thinking, I'll share. I will read it pretty much verbatim. It's a summary interpretation is what this is. But the data set is almost certainly from a COVID era digital surveillance system, like the Shuhenma Health Code Act. The data structure suggests it was used to track citizens' identity, health status, location, and movements in near real time. The Chinese Communist Party has leveraged such systems not only for pandemic control, but also for enhanced social governance, population control, and public security, especially through integration with national ID, telecom data, and mobile payment platforms, WeChat and Alipay. This kind of data set can identify and control movement of individuals based on health status or other criteria, differentiate treatment from foreigners versus nationals, maintain a log of location time for every person scanned, be linked with big data systems for real time decision making and retrospective analysis. So interesting, right? Um, what does that really mean? I mean, it, this is just my initial thought on this, right? Like, um, I don't know. Kind of seems like things that the Chinese CCP does to the people, they're just kind of used to it. I mean, I don't know that this would seem abnormal to anybody who has to use these um, in Shanghai, at least this data, right? Because there's a lot of it, a lot of it. All right, we're back. Okay, so when it format structures everything initially, it does it in a linear sense. I'm actually going to. I need to look at. I'm going to open up one of these files with a text. Open with Notepad. Okay. Because I need to find I'm going to find the character that is basically the null. So I can isolate that and take it out of the chart before we even really kind of move forward. All right, let's see. All right, I think I got it. All right, let's bring everything in. So now I'm changing it from right now, it's in a linear mode. I'm going to click Compact Peacock. That's going to take everything linear and drag it in. And then we'll take a look. Right now it's thinking. Yeah, this is a huge data set. It is really struggling. Let's try fit to window and see if that helps. No, no. Okay, so this is huge. Each one of these is going to be pretty large. So we have obviously a massive centralized cluster here. Let's see what that is, or let's start here on the side. And it's moving very slow. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to see what this is. Because again, I don't speak Mandarin. Okay. Shanghai Big Data Center. That's interesting. Let's try to scoot this over a little bit. Let's get into this big cluster, see if we can even, start to take a look and see what that is. I don't know whether it's a location. I mean, but it's stacked. I mean, it's pretty. Okay. Wow. Damn. You get a sense here of how much data there is behind this. I might actually have to use a different program with this. Kind of looks like a black hole, doesn't it? Pretty cool. Modern art masterpiece. Okay, employed by. Oh, I might have just gotten lucky. Let's see. Let's see what that is. Okay. I got lucky. Employed by none. Oh, no. Let's see if it's... Because typically, when you have a big cluster like that, there has to be a center point. Even if we zoom in a lot, I'm not sure it's going to make much of a difference. We'll see if this is going to take... If it takes more than 2 minutes to let me work on it again, I'm going to close it, reopen it. Oh, there we go. We're in. But what I need to do is zoom in, see if we can actually see this. Okay. All right. Maybe so. I'm telling you, this is okay. All right. So right there, this means none. And I'll zoom in so you guys can see it a little better. I'm going to take that out completely, right? And I'm going to do it by double clicking. I'm going to Control C. Now, this will take a minute. It's okay. There we go. I'm going to do Control F. Off screen, I am dropping that character in. I'm pressing OK. And I'm going to try to zoom out while it's finding all of these. It found this one for sure. It's highlighted now. Okay. So 130,409 matches. I'm going to press OK. And now I'm going to press delete. This may kill it. If it does, I'll still post this video and we'll do a part 2 once I can go through it. And I think that'll still work. This will also free up a ton of space. So it's going to, as much as a tenth of the links and entities on the screen. So that's another thing I didn't calculate in. I calculated 1.2 million entities. That doesn't account for the links. So when I was putting this together, so you got, an extra at least 700,000 or 800,000 links on everything, which is a lot. Well, we'll give this a few minutes. Out of memory. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to start here then. That doesn't happen that often. It's not frozen, but I am going to get rid of this. It'll let me. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this in sections, which is going to be pretty wild. I have that character saved though, so I can refine this. I'm going to try to zoom out just a tad. It wants to work. This is not a blue screen of death. It's just a lot. It's a lot for any system go to. Also, I'm on Windows 10 on this machine. I'm going to click right there, see if we can turn off all the links real quick. But okay, while this is thinking, I will kind of address another question people might be thinking. Is the answer is questions why? Why does any of this matter? If we can identify people who are with any of the many facets of Chinese intelligence or espionage, and we have their data, let's prevent those people from coming to America, right? I think that's fairly reasonable, right? Like anybody who thinks that the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party members are allies of America, you are mistaken, 100%. There is I don't think I'll address it on the podcast at all, but there is significant intelligence value behind this type of data, and for a lot of reasons. Okay, I'm going to set my timer because I'm not going to let this go all day. I'll just pause it. So we'll wait. Let's do. Let's set the timer for 3 minutes. If it's still going for 3 minutes, I'll pause and wait. And I'll get back to this. Let me see what it's doing on Task Manager. Yeah, it says it's running. So, I mean, okay, so the actual memory right now is 2,200,000 kilobytes a second. So, yeah, pretty wild. Another thing I'm going to do is, while I'm waiting, I'm going to copy what I asked AI and to explain, and I'll post that in the I'll post that as a comment on the video so everybody can see it. Uh, and then if anybody has an issue with that, let's talk about it because, like I said, I'm not an expert. If anybody has lived there and has family there and were there during the COVID times, I would love to get some insight into how this works practically. Um, I think that would be an interesting conversation. I know some folks. I don't know if they would want to be on a podcast. What I want to find out is to ask, and where'd that word dot go? There it is. All right, got that saved. Looks like we're back. I'm trying another click. All I'm trying to do is unhighlight right now. That's all I'm trying to do. Uh, if I can unhighlight, I can delete that center node, and then that'll change the dynamic of everything. What did it say? 130,000. That it should include links. So that includes like from the person, the link to. So the center node, which is, I don't know, let's hundreds of thousands of rows, obviously, right? And there's hundreds of thousands of connections to basically not unemployment, or I imagine it's unemployed, employment unknown is probably all. It seems like it's all categorized. It seems like it's very black and white, ones or zeros. All right. Well, okay. Maybe it did work, and I just didn't recognize it. That's weird up there. Everything about this is kind of cool. So here's what I'm going to try to do. Okay. All right. That was already 3 minutes. So I'm zooming back into C. Okay. Going to click on just this icon here. Let's see. Okay. Clicked on it. It's highlighted. Let's do delete. It's almost like nothing happened. Try delete again. See if anything happens. I'm going to copy that. Put that over here. Well, it did that. It just doesn't want to go away. It wants to survive. And not even an AI. Everything's kind of working, but then it's kind of not. I mean, that command might run itself in 30 seconds. It might do it in an hour and a half. Who knows? Because it's got to delete quite a bit too. And I don't know if you can see it here, but once the when the screen kind of cuts itself off, it does this without having a video on. It is thinking right now. I think it might be deleting, and it says it's running. See if I can scroll back out. I can. Well, I don't know what that's going to do. I want to pull this over here if I can. And see if anything, I'll zoom in here. See if anything catches my eye. Obviously, this is going to be a multi-part series. This is going to be very hard to show detail. I was expecting that, just kind of in general, right? These are long strings. I don't think these have too much behind them. I think it's just a rendering problem because there's so much data. Yeah. See, it's singular data stretched, very, very stretched out. Uh, I'll probably try. Also, the English version of this, somebody auto translated it. Yeah, so it's just going on for a while. This is what a lot of these should look like. So once I take out the basically the no job category, this I would think that this is more normal, right? Um, there is data missing from here, so they had to have some type of device to be able to like get the data in the first place, right? Or maybe it's also biometric. Don't know. Uh, but yeah, so that's more normal. I'm going to do fit to window again. Let's see. I'll try this one more time. I do want to see what this is though, because this is weird. See if it'll highlight. You can't even tell fit selection window. All right, let's see what that is. Oh, Shanghai Cinema, uh, Yuhai branch. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's just weird. Caught my eye. Caught my eye. It's weird. All right, I'm gonna take one more attempt at scrolling in and deleting that. If not, I'll refine this on my own time and put out a part two. Yeah, this is really cool though. I mean, a ton of data. I know you're thinking I didn't do anything. I just zoomed in. There we go. Still zooming in from the last time. Okay, I don't want the link. I want the entity. So there we go. Ba, 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 ba. Will you highlight for me, buddy? I'll find out. But yeah, intelligence takes time. It's an art, not a science. There's a lot of science involved, right? Algorithms, methodologies, right? But at the end of the day, some of this has to be intuition. What is necessary, what is not. Um, just having done this for almost 22 years now, there's no need to have this clogging up space, right? So I'm trying to get rid of it. And then we'll also know, like, if I was presenting this professionally, it's like, okay, listen, if they don't have a job listed, just they were already categorized as null. So, but Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make myself big on the screen, and we'll close it up from there. So hey, uh, like I said, everybody, this is part one: turning data into intelligence with leaked CCP data. Turns out this is COVID-related tracking data, allowing people to have access or not have access, and what the locations of that access were, who the person is, their ID numbers, things like that. This is one part of one data set, and I have at least 100 individual, um, leaked data dumps, and those will, on some level, correlate with each other, which should be pretty awesome to see. I may switch from Analyst Notebook to NEO4j, or maybe Tableau. I have a bunch of different leak analysis programs. NEO4j has a tendency to be able to handle a lot more nodes. So instead of really slowing down at about 1 million for Analyst Notebook, like maybe NEO4j starts slowing down at like a peg, maybe like 1 billion, right? May start slowing down. It also renders things differently, right? It's not as pretty of a picture. It doesn't cluster analytically in the same way. It will take things and kind of shrink them down. It's the only way I can describe it. But yeah, so we'll have many of these videos coming out now that I have a good solid template. The template seems to look nice. Uh, going to go through this and see if there's some value to it. And tomorrow morning, I will do a part two. I'm also still working Iran. I am running the emails from the NPPD um, through a forensics program called Autopsy, which I have gotten used to. It's not the best at really anything, but it's free and it does pretty good work. And it does exactly what I ask it to when I ask it to. Now that there's a lot of data, so it takes some time, but that's any forensics is going to take time. Also, find some things that maybe I didn't notice. You know, so that's still going on. So right now, working um, the Chinese Communist Party, and I'm all still working Iran. And since my first Iran video, I probably have, I'd guess, 3 or 4 more terabytes of Iranian data. Um, I hadn't kind of refreshed my source list in a while, so I went looking to see what's kind of out there, and I found some new stuff. And I had the help of some friends who speak Farsi, which was really great help, helping me with what keywords would look like in vernacular. So, what would an Iranian call a data dump, or a breach, or a leak, or data, and then being able to search that term in Farsi has been invaluable. I'll eventually do that same thing for China. I think that'll also help my understanding of this data, where it comes from, how to in vernacular in Shanghai, in Beijing, etc., Hong Kong. What does that look like? Because I mean, China's a really big place, and there's a lot of different ethnic groups. There's a lot of languages spoken in different ways, and I just don't know that. So, at that, thanks everybody for tuning in. Um, stay tuned for part two. Uh, if anybody's has a comment on this, please let me know. The email is the Where's Wally podcast at gmail.com. Leave a comment. Feel free to like, subscribe. That would help me out a lot with my goal of monetizing. I want to monetize also organically. So I'm not buying subscribers. I'm not doing any of that. I'm doing this as I go, ad hoc, shooting from the hip half the time. And listen, if you really don't enjoy this material, well, let me know too. I'd like to know the bad and the good. Um, and at that, hey, if you're interested in me applying this to your company, I am available. And if this is something that could benefit you on a corporate level or an intelligence level, um, let's talk. So, at that, everybody have a good evening, and Wally out.